Literally, is this just my filming time now? Like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning? Right after I get out of work? I mean, I guess that works. It makes sense, right? Also, please don't make fun of my hair. I'm trying to grow it out, and it's like at that weird awkward stage that's like kind of doing whatever it wants. And plus it's 4 o'clock in the morning, so let it just do whatever it wants. We just gotta film this video. Hey guys, Chandler here. Welcome back to my channel, Alternate Journey. And today I am going to be discussing about gender dysphoria versus body dysmorphia. Two terms that are very strangely, in my opinion, mixed up within the media and also within the community. But they are totally two separate conditions. And mixing these two terms up and thinking that they are the same thing is both harmful for the trans community and also very harmful for people who actually suffer from body dysmorphia. So yeah, body dysmorphia, definition term of it, is also known as body dysmorphic disorder, is an anxiety disorder that causes individuals to spend a lot of time worrying about their appearance and have a distorted view of how they look. So basically, to explain this more in depth, to understand this, is that when an individual with body dysmorphia looks in the mirror, it kind of turns into like a funhouse mirror in a sense. Basically, they are unable to recognize the body for what it is. So their features will seem distorted, and their flaws, whether they are real flaws or imagined ones, are perceived as much worse. So if an individual, per se, thinks that they have a really big nose, like that's their biggest thing about themselves and everything, when they have body dysmorphia, when they look in the mirror, that nose like kind of looks like Pinocchio in a sense, like it just heightens that fact, and they just can't stop seeing it no matter what they do to help it. According to studies, apparently this disorder is genetic. They don't really know how it's genetic, but they say that it could be. But scientists say that it's mainly related to bullying in childhood, which makes a lot of sense. Also, they blame society's beauty standards, which also makes sense. This also happens equally in both biological men and women. I wanted to point that out because a lot of people would probably think that happens more to women, especially since society's views of what a perfect woman should look like, with beauty standards and everything, you'd expect it more in a woman. But also, toxic masculinity is also a factor for men and everything. So it's like, you know, man's supposed to be tall, they're supposed to be like muscular and everything, and that could impact someone with body dysmorphia. And they could always like be going to the gym, working out, have the abs, but they just look in the mirror and they see this tiny little twink. But they say to help with body dysmorphia, they suggest counseling and antidepressants. They highly do not recommend any surgery because this actually might harm the person, and also if it's not what they're looking for, in a sense, it can actually make their dysmorphia even worse. So like the monster they see in the mirror will be like heightened in a sense. Basically, they're not having a disconnect with their body, they're having a disconnect in the processing of perception. Does that make sense? Their brain is not processing the reality. Now, it's understandable with that terminology why so many people do confuse gender dysphoria and body dysmorphia, because of the fact that both have disconnect. So gender dysphoria now is a condition where an individual experiences discomfort or distress because there is a disconnect between their biological sex and their gender identity. So basically this disconnect is different from the disconnect from body dysmorphia, because people with dysphoria are aware of what their physical features actually are. When they look in the mirror, they know exactly what it is, like what every ordinary person sees them as. And that's why it causes discomfort. So in my sense, everyone sees me before I started testosterone and everything. For the most part, yes, I still get misgendered and everything. But basically, if someone saw me before I started binding and everything, I was seen as a woman, and I saw that in the mirror, and that made me have that disconnect and discomfort. It wasn't the fact that like I saw this weird looking kind of female monster. I saw my body for what it was, and I didn't like it because it wasn't supposed to be my body. Does that make sense? Like, I understand the confusion of it all because it is all mental, but the thing is, gender dysphoria is no longer considered as a mental illness, because the thing is, having gender dysphoria is not a mental illness. The only part, because like people with dysphoria are actually very mentally stable. The only thing that happens is like we can become mentally unstable just because society's unaccepting manners within the trans community. Yeah, so basically people with dysphoria are very aware of what their body is and why it doesn't match up with their identity. So basically with me, with my dysphoria, when I was first questioning about myself, because like I was having these feelings but I didn't know exactly what transgender was or anything, and it's just like I've always felt this disconnect with my body, and I would like try binding and later on packing. And the thing is, when trans individuals, now this is with my case, I'm not speaking for every trans man out there, but the thing is that what I would spend maybe 30 minutes trying to get dressed and everything like that and make myself comfortable in my body, binding and packing and all that, and making sure my bind doesn't show, making sure my dick looks right. And it's just, once I saw a masculine figure in the mirror, because like I was doing things to make myself pass, then I was happy and I could go throughout the day being happy. The thing is, with body dysmorphia, you do these things to try to help those flaws, but the thing is you're still seeing those flaws because it's a mental illness where your mind is just recreating it. And the thing is, they're going to be focusing about it throughout the day, no matter what. So like when they meet someone, like I said before, like if they thought they have a big nose, that's their constant thing. They're just thinking about it the whole time. Now yes, when I was meeting people, there would be a fear like, oh, is my binder showing? Is it flat enough? Does the dick look in a weird positioning? Like you would just like stop and kind of have a mental panic attack at first, but then like, I don't know, you become calm and comfortable. The thing with body dysmorphia, it can turn into a whole anxiety attack and everything. And yes, you can have anxiety attacks meeting people being trans as well, because it is a very triggering dysphoric moment sometimes, especially if they keep on like saying the wrong pronouns. But that's the thing, it's not the fact that we go into those panic attacks or anxiety attacks because we have dysphoria, it's because of like what the surroundings is happening. Does that make sense? Like we go into that point because of things that's happening around us. If we're getting dead named, if we're getting the wrong pronouns, then that's going to affect us where we have that panic attack or anxiety attack where we just have to get out of the situation. Someone with body dysmorphia, they're creating it all in their head about like, oh my god, my nose is growing or something, or it's just like, I look like this monster, I can't be here. And they have an anxiety/panic attack and they have to get themselves out of that situation. Now, now a lot of people think that gender dysphoria and body dysmorphia are the same thing, but I'm here to tell you there is no such thing as gender dysmorphia. Because the thing is, if there was such a thing as that, basically it would be defined as someone who had a form of body dysmorphia where they looked in the mirror and they believed that they saw certain aspects of the opposite sex they were born as, and that made them feel discomfort or distress. And the thing is, that's the total opposite of gender dysphoria. Like if I looked in the mirror and I saw a freaking flat-chested, like good-looking man, fuck, I wouldn't even have to medically transition. Like if I just felt that, like if I just mentally saw that all the time, that'd be freaking amazing. Not all of it, but like, yeah, wait, it would basically, because I would have this mental condition where I really saw that I was a man. Like I am a man, but like I would think that I had the body of a man without transitioning. So it's like, that would be freaking great. I wish it was a thing, because then I wouldn't have to spend thousands of dollars on freaking top surgery. I wouldn't have to work 2 jobs and getting home at 4 o'clock in the morning to make a freaking video. And it's like, damn, like that'd be freaking amazing if it was a thing, but it's not. Gender dysphoria and body dysmorphia are 2 totally separate things. And to confuse these 2 terms or conditions is basically so disrespectful for the trans community, because we're basically saying that we have a mental illness and that we're not really trans and that we're just imagining things. But it's real. It is so real. Like I am a man and I am just working on it for society to actually see that and for me to actually have the body that I feel comfortable with. Anyways, I hope my little rant made sense to you. I know it's a very hard topic to describe and like define, because everyone defines things differently, everyone processes things differently, so maybe some of you actually understood what I was saying, or maybe I made some of you more confused on the matter. Hopefully that's not the case, but if you do have any more questions about this topic, please comment that down below, or if you have any other suggestions for future videos for me to make, also comment that down below as well. But yeah, anyways, like always, please like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. I make videos whenever I can, but you can always expect a monthly update on my transition. Alright, see you guys later. Bye.